Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I'm afraid I had an unexpected long winter's nap. Anyway, good to see everybody. Abdul, John, JJ, Kent, how you doing? Oh boy, talking about the winds and the storm and everything. Hi, Mark. Um, Today or this afternoon, I wanted to continue our talk about the sort of the joy of watches, things that we like. This morning we talked about the thanks, Mark. We talked about the way in which it was really fun uh, with the whole sort of fascination of the whole thing working on the unwinding of a mainspring. And so I thought this afternoon the kinds of things that also that we like about watches, primarily things on the dials, the different styles of watches, and so forth. So we'll talk about that this afternoon. The things that we like. Whoa, what is this? What do you call square loom Arabics, small loom Arabics. I don't know. What are they called? Hey, Graham. Um, I don't. That's one thing. There are a lot of different styles to like. Hi, Dean. Happy holidays to you too. Had a question for anyone who could answer when traveling in other countries. Well, um, sure, I could. I guess. I don't know. How you doing, Brian? What is the question about what watches wearing in other countries? One I always wear. I have a Parmigiani Hemispheres, and I wear it because I wear it because it has not only dual time zone, it's got dual night and day. Having dual night and day is really handy in case you're going to call somebody who lives somewhere where it's 3 a.m. in the morning. You give them a call and you didn't realize that where you are, the time has really changed a lot. Um, Many times the function determine the design. Oh, good point. That's a very good point, John. Yeah, the function determines science. Probably why I'm not crazy about chronographs. Or all they sort of cover up a lot of things on the dial. But that's a good point. Same thing is true with a resonance. At least the kind I have. You got basically two different dials in there in resonance with one another. Hi, Dean. Oh, do you have to declare a watch you already own it through customs? You know, I'm uh, Dean. I'm sorry. I must have missed that question. I never have, but that's a. You know why that's such a great question is because if you buy a watch, if you go and get a watch, let's say you go to Switzerland and you buy a watch, the you would when you come home, customs may want to ask you about it. Usually, they ask you about what do you have, but if you take a watch with you, um, there's a way, I suppose. I'm trying to think. I've never done it before, but they ask you if you have anything to declare, and you're supposed to tell them the truth, but some people may not. Um, do you have to declare a watch you already own in customs? I don't think so. If they ask you about it, say no. I took it with me. The reason that's such a good question is that a lot of times people take their, myself included, will take along a watch roll and have several watches with them. I'm looking for. I see I got a roll here. That's not a roll. Hang on a second. Let's see if I got a roll down here. I think I do. Um, Here's a roll. That's not a roll. Um, I tend to go with a. I like the flat ones better than the rolls, because the flat ones. Here's one that has sort of a two watch one. Uh, a lot of times, if you go on a cruise or something, and there's any kind of rocking of the boat, so to speak, a roll will roll with it, or it'll just roll all over the place. I like these, but I do like rolls because the thing I like about a roll is that you can. Let's see if I got one here. Yeah, I've got some, but I can't get to them right now. So anyway, um, so that's why Dean's question is such an important one. There apparently Mike Margolis had talked about a certain series of things that you're supposed to do. If you go to Switzerland, you take a bunch of watches with you. There are these forms you can fill out, and that'll help with it. And if you have a form, another thing you can do, I think it's a good idea, is before you leave, use your phone, your camera, and take some pictures of your watch in some place that looks like home. Um, like I don't know, in the customs before you leave. Uh, I I don't know if there's any official form. I think there is, at least in Switzerland there is. Anybody have anything on that? Hi, Dean. Let's see, what is it? Hi, Tanzil. Can you comment on anglage by hand versus bevel finishing by machine? I can. Hi, Lee. How you doing? Grandkids are getting restless. They are. Uh, hey, Ken. Greetings from Istanbul. How are things going in Istanbul these days? I was in Istanbul years ago. Uh, Whoops, there goes the phone. Hang on a second. It's, hang on one second. Hello? What am I doing at 4 o'clock? Bye bye. That was my wife. It wasn't a teleprompter. I think I just got what's sometimes called a butt call. Anyway, okay, where was I? Okay, so let me ask you: uh, have any of you traveled to Switzerland with multiple watches, especially Swiss watches? If you go to Switzerland with some Seikos, you ought to be okay. But if you go with this is actually, or if you take a Langenheim, that's all right too. This is a German watch. But if you have, most of my watches are Swiss, and if you take a Swiss watch, what's going to happen to you? Um, I don't know. Anybody on that one? I take a copy of the receipt of the watch with me when in Switzerland. Great idea. That's another good idea. Or can you just take a picture of it? By and large, I just like to take a picture of something. Also, too, just as considered good advice, take pictures of your passport of all of the important pages, and then if you lose it, it's a lot easier to get it back. I can't. I don't know what I mean. They said, "Well, you lost your passport. What's your passport number?" I've got no idea. Okay, Tanzil had a real good thing I think is worth asking about, and that is the difference between hand anglage and doing it by machine. Friend of mine who is he was a watchmaker, used to be one of the Grand Prix judges, told me, he said, there's one way you can do it. Let me see if I have yeah, this one probably has it. Um, if you look, let me see if you can see this right here. Yeah, now this is, you can see the trigonal bridge here on this one right here. And I'm trying to see. Well, anyway, what you look for is that if you can find, on part of a bridge where it goes to a point like that, the machine ones are both sides of the point will be beveled, but the point won't be beveled because you can't. Apparently, machines can't bevel a point, whereas, of course, with hand anglage you can. So that's the best I can do, Tanzil. I hope that's enough on that one. Um, okay, what else we got here? Or a photo of your watch on a local up-to-date newspaper. Another good idea. That one, that's more the kind of thing I'd like to do, except other than the weekly New York Times, we don't get any papers. Also, too, if somebody has you could take a picture of your watch with a newspaper when you get back. I don't know. Yeah, but the things something like that I think usually helps. Um, hey Thomas, you might ask for your receipt of the watch. That's probably the best idea. Or take a picture of it, as Tim said. Sometimes my phone runs out of battery life. Okay, you take paper with you then. Uh, Swiss is strict. I know. When you go back to Swiss, they grab you back uh, for non-declaring. Yeah, I bet they would. I we sent a little bracelet. There was this little girl who had come down with COVID, and she was sick, and so we got her a bracelet. There was a little silver bracelet, silver and turquoise with bear claws on it. It was a an Indian from I think it was a Navajo bracelet, and so we sent it to her. And boy, they stopped that, and they wanted to have the VAT and everything, just for a little gift like that. So yeah, I guess they are strict. Um, hey, Tuna, how you doing? Somebody I know had won a chrono Swiss and forgot to declare it, and got slapped when coming back. Yikes! Somebody I know. Okay, let's see what else you got here. Um, Hi, Adolfo. How you doing? Oh, from Chile. One of the many places I want to visit. I've been to South America once. I went to Argentina and Uruguay, and I just love South America. So Chile's on my list. See, Brian, I think the value of the box and papers would be more than uh, custom charges. A collector or an enthusiast would most likely declare the watch rather than throw the box and papers away. Great point. That's a very good point. I mean, let's say you went to Geneva and you got a an FP Journe. Thing I like about FP Journe is they come in a relatively small box, and so you could take that with you without a problem. Some of these, I got a Vacheron Constantin Historique Americain 1921. That thing comes. It looks like a suitcase. It comes in this great big box, and that would be. I tell you, I'd much rather have the little one. But Brian's right. That's a good point. Uh, you don't want to throw the box away. One thing that you can do, Brian, ship the box. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying that's something that people could do. I wouldn't know who. Hey, MCM, Merry Christmas from 60 degrees Northern California. Still warm, huh? I used to live in San Francisco a long time ago, back in Haight Ashbury, back in the 60s. Interesting place back then. Hey, Lease Time, how you doing? Hi, Vlad. 109, 1099,000 reporting had been postponed by 1 year. This is the latest news from IRS at 1099K. What is 1099K? I'm not familiar with that. I do know that recently I had a watch shipped to me, and the watch was valued, I think, at $7,000, and they charged me $89 on for customs, which is bringing a watch into the US is very, very inexpensive. It's like about 1.5% or something like that. It's very low. It's even lower if it's gold. For some reason, we have a custom system that, thank goodness, is fairly archaic. It's based on uh, when there used to be a lot of watchmaking in the US. They had stainless steel cases, and they felt that watches with stainless steel cases, there was going to be a higher tariff because that was more competitive. Whereas they weren't making too many with gold cases. So if you had a gold case or a platinum case, not a problem. By the way, too, if you ever ship a watch into the United States and they have a breakdown of what each thing is worth, the best idea is to use the value of the movement. Put the value of the movement high and the case very low because most of the taxing will go to the case, not to the movement. The truth of the matter is, most really good watches is that all of the most expensive part of it is in the movement. You take an FP Journe that has gold uh, movement parts, not part, but bridges and plates. I mean, and that's part of the movement, considered part of the movement. Boy, you'd be glad that that part of the is not considered as the part to tax the most. Hey, lease time, 8 degrees Celsius. Now I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Here it was at this morning. It was 8 degrees. It was really funny. We had some wild weather. 60 degrees yesterday, and within 24 hours it dropped down to went from 60 to 16 very quickly, and then overnight it went down to 8. Hi, Vlad, what's up? Okay, 1099 income tax reporting. Huh. Why in other words, if you bring a watch back, that's part of income? That's interesting. It went down from 200,000 K and 200 items to a flat 600. Wow. On that's income tax? So if you bring a watch that's more than 600 $600? Man. Hmm. No, that's good to know. Hey, Bill, Merry Christmas to you too. Hey, Greg, what's up? Be careful bringing watches through Florida. You'll get hit with use tax later on, which is the same as sales tax. Learned that the hard way. Wow, I have not heard of that. Thank you. That's good to know. Usually, when we come back into the US, we try to come into our local regional airport. It's called Bradley. Greatest airport to go in and come out of because it's a regional airport. It's not very big, and it's easy. It's not it's an easy drive for us to get to. Um, More practically, we have to go down to JFK. So usually the best way to do that is go spend the night in New York and then get a cab out, or you can take a train if you want to out to JFK. And but yeah, going through customs is always an adventure. there's things, there's so much interesting stuff that you could do with customs that I can't talk about. It's important, I guess. Uh, hey, Flippin' Zippo, Merry Christmas to you too. Oh, Guernsey, you guys, there's another name for Guernsey. That's a tax shelter. That's a great place. Let's see. What's up, Vlad? Let's see. You have to pay tax on anything, including watches sold for over $600 on eBay. Oh, yeah. I tell you though, if I buy a watch in Switzerland and put it on my wrist and wear it back, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. Um, I hope not. Anyway, thing you do is wear a cheap watch over there and throw it away, and come back. It's the only watch I got. Oh, it's postponed for a year. So the thing is, next year, the 2023 that's the time to travel with tax. Is that a U.S. tax? Probably probably a good idea. So the thing that's really weird is that on cruises, we go on a cruise and we'll try to think. We disembarked in Boston. We started in Montreal. This was one, and we went around and we came back and we ended up in Boston. I don't remember going through customs at all there. Another one we went. We flew to Copenhagen and then we went on a cruise up in the Baltic and then back, and we flew back. So I don't think some of the ones you can leave from. I guess you can leave from New York, or you can leave from. A lot of them leave from Fort Lauderdale and Miami and that area, and I could imagine they'd turn you inside and out at some of those places. That's why I like coming in and out of our little regional airport called Bradley. It's for sort of southwestern Massachusetts and most of Connecticut. Some people who live in southern Connecticut will, it's just to hop on Metro North, and hour later they're in either LaGuardia or JFK. I don't know what you know. It's always, I suppose, the game is that when is the best time. I went through Atlanta once, and they sent us through customs twice. First leaving and then coming back. I never did understand that, but you know, who knows? Take care. Have a good Christmas, John. Okay, selling the watch on eBay. Yeah, eBay and Toronto 24, yeah, they're interested in taxes. Yeah, I gotta tell you though, uh, they make it relatively easy. I mean, taxes are taxes and customs is custom. By the way, too, in going through customs, my favorite transporter is DHL. If you go through DHL, they'll send you an email and they'll say, "This is what you owe customs," and so just answer the email, and they say, "Or click here," and you click there, and then you say this, this, and this. Then you give them your credit card, and that's it, and then your watch is on the way. With with FedEx, if oh my God, I don't know why FedEx does it this way. If you go through FedEx with no problem at all, which I have yet to do, coming internationally, they send you a letter, and then in the letter there's a link, and then you go to the link, and then you pay your taxes there. Well, I'm thinking, why not just have it, rather than having to send you a snail mail, that they can just give you the link and have it. A lot of people I know say, "Look, I'd rather do it with UPS or DHL internationally. I just don't want to do it with FedEx." And you know, nationally for FedEx, it's great, but internationally, they have this. They will stop it. God knows, whatever you do, do not send your watch with a gator strap. Send it with anything, but just send it with either leather or textile, nothing else. Uh, and if you get a watch and it comes with that, tell them to send it separately. And then if they stop it, it'll be you'll still have your watch. We have DHL on Guernsey, so I imagine my watch, Larique, will come through that uh, on Guernsey Post. I don't know. The guy that's shipping us everything, Graham, is shipping us on FedEx. He's got a contract with FedEx, and everything is shipped FedEx. So I don't know how they're going to do it to Guernsey. They probably have an arrangement with DHL or somebody, and then they'll give it to them or with the postal, and then they'll get it to you that way. Just a weird idea. Break up the imported watch into two purchases. A watch consultancy service, no duties or taxes applied to the services and watch parts. That's another idea too. There's something that one day this thing was sent to me, and it was sent by courier. Courier is like really expensive, but they take care of everything. I mean, the watch that I was sent, in fact, I think it may have been this one. It was sent by courier, and I had to pay the courier charges that were here, and it was over $1,000. No hassle though at all. I mean, it was worth it. Guy shows up to my front door in an armored car with this big plastic, one of those plastic, I don't know what you'd call them, like a hamper with a cover and, sort of like a storage box. And it's locked. And it has one of those corded metal uh, pieces of, I don't know what you call them. There's sort of like a rope, a metal rope, and then they have a lock on it. He didn't have the combination of the thing, and we had to we had to take that stupid thing apart. We finally got it open. I told him to keep the crate and give me the watch. Yeah, Brian, I think you're right. DHL is works the best. I've got nothing. I've had nothing but good luck with DHL on that. And we have a DHL here, but it's sort of small and it's on the other side of town. On the other hand, we have a FedEx right out by the airport, and you put it there, and they pop it on a plate and it's gone. But I agree. I like for international, it's hard to beat DHL. I've had the same good luck with UPS too. They're great for international. They all interlink. Yeah, that's probably it. Graham, yeah, they're all connected and stuff. I think maybe there's some big evil entity that owns them all and has us wondering which is which. Um, what are some other things? We talked about different dials. I was talking with someone and they really like sports watches. Probably of all of the styles of watches, probably the most popular one is sports watches. This is the kind of watch I like. This is my Langenheim Frederick II. They're just sort of like time only, but really good watches. The one we have made, the Larique, is just that's another beautiful watch. Um, I used to have an overseas and a Vacheron Constantin overseas as a quote sports watch. That one was a great watch too. Recently, I saw a Laurent Ferrier sports watch, just gorgeous, just right, way out of my price range, but a really nice watch. Yeah, I think they do. Okay, guys. Since I was late, sorry, we could say a little late today. What else is it about Watt's collection Hey, Javi, that makes watch collection sort of a fun thing to do, as opposed to, I don't know, boosting hubcaps or something. They're all kind. It's funny, One of the things a lot of people have asked me, well, how did you get into watch collection? My answer, I have no idea. It's sort of happened one day, and I started with a Patek Philippe. I wanted to get a Patek Philippe. I got one. I got I didn't know if it was a good deal or not. A little Calatrava watch was perfect. It was a beautiful watch to own. And then people said, well, you got to be careful because that thing is, you don't want to wear that thing every day. It's a little more delicate. So I got it they pretty much said, you need a sports watch. And so I got that's when I got my overseas, and I wore that one for years. I love my overseas. And then I thought, well, I have a Calatrava, a Patek Philippe, and a Vacheron Constantin. I better get a Audemars Piguet. And the one I got had a moon phase on. I think it was a moon phase. Yeah, it was a moon phase, and just didn't work well. It just didn't work well with me at all for some reason. Generally, I like Audemars Piguet. They're excellent, excellent horology on those watches. But the one I got was too small and just worked perfectly, though. It worked beautifully. So, you sort of end up doing things, and all of a sudden, I'm a watch collector. I didn't realize it. Hey, Tanzil, best part of watch collecting is learning. I agree. I agree, Tanzil. That's exactly right. From an educational standpoint, what are the best telltale signs of a machine finish on a movement? Well, the one I thought was if the pointed parts of a bridge are beveled on both sides, but not on the point. That's the best one I know. That was the one that Judge told me that they use. Um, there are all kinds of things, I guess. How can you differentiate finishing on a JLC movement versus a Patek Philippe movement? I tell you, those two I wouldn't look at so much as I'd look at a let's say a JLC and then something like a FP Journe. FP Journe, you're going to have this really beautiful finishing on one of these. These are finishing on this one was from the time that Marco Lang was at Lang and Hein, and you look at it and you can see the really beautiful finishing. Another thing that you can do if you have two watches like this, and you have a friend with a watch like this, and you look at the finishing on the two in the areas like here, like on the trigonal bridge, and there's a little differences. That's another sign. If everything is too uniform between watches, then it's probably machine finished, Tanzil. Whereas there's little differences, it's probably hand done. Mr. Silverman, how are you doing? VC Overseas is a great watch. I agree. I couldn't agree more. In fact, the one I had was they call an OS1. It was the original version. And in 2016, when they came out with the new ones, with a new movement, I think it's called 5100, VC 5100 movement, fabulous watch, fabulous movement. And so I took my old one down. I was going to trade it in, and everything went sideways. Have you ever had a meeting with an AD? This was at the boutique in New York City, and the funniest thing happened was that they said, "Well, we don't take trade-ins." I thought, "Well, how am I going to afford a new one if you don't take trade-ins?" And then they showed me Quadrille with exactly the same movement, and I liked it better. I love the Quadrille. That's one that I probably ought to try to get my mitts on one of these days. Thing is, though, it's a sports watch, and it's a neat sports watch too. But I've got this sports watch already. I got this giant Easy Diver by Roger Dubuis, and that thing is an incredibly good watch. It's a little heavier than I like, but you know, that's sort of checked off for sports watch. I usually don't wear sports watches, so that's another reason I'm probably not too interested in them. That's the thing that I think is important. I know some people who have nothing but sport watches. Don't blame them. I know people who have all different kinds of watches. I know this one guy who has it's I think every single watch he has a day date on it. I I think I have one watch, maybe with a day date. But so you have all of these different kinds of things that are sort of fun to have. Nishala, how are you? What is your opinion of A Longa Un Sunda? That's a hard one. I like their Saxonia, the larger size ones. By and large, I really like them as a whole. I don't like them as much as I like Langenheim, but I like them. Um, what happened? A friend of mine who was a German watchmaker just loved them, and he couldn't say enough about them. And at some point, they were bought by the Richemont Group, and certain things changed, and he didn't like them after that. And I think what changed is that they weren't able to be quite as sort of creative as they had been on some of the watches they had. Overall, though, I wouldn't mind having one at all. They're very nice watches, but like I said, if a choice with a Longa or a Langenheim, I take a Langenheim any day. Hey, Fat Angus, how you doing? The purpose of hand finishing is to show your money is going towards things that a machine can't do. So the sign of a good hand finishing at the smaller details that a big CNC drill can't get at. Yeah, that's another way of putting it. That was essentially the same thing I said, but there was something very specific that you can go to with looking for the peak. That's why Tim Mosso is always calling out sharp interior corners. A drill bit can't get deep enough into those crevices. Okay. Sometimes curves indicates hand finish because the machine is too sharp, beveled edges. Other times, okay. Thanks, there, Fat Angus. Hi, Vitus. How you doing? Happy holidays to you too. Yeah, no, there are a lot of different things. I don't know. I wish I could, I wish I had something button on this thing I could pull up and a great big movement would show up and we could look at it. Hey, Brian, got to run. Merry Christmas to all of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you too. Well, listen, my clock's about running out too. I've gone over quite a bit, even though I was late. So, anyway, guys, everyone have a great holiday. Merry Christmas tomorrow if you celebrate Christmas. I don't know if Hanukkah's still going. I think it is. If you celebrate Hanukkah, if you have some other religious or non religious celebration, enjoy it and be safe. Take care.